I'm here. Just have to, yeah, come around. Hi. This is Forest After Dark again with another entry in my series for the process of writing my novel, the second book in a trilogy, and you're here to listen to me talk about fragments, right? If you're someone who is currently writing a novel or is thinking about writing one, maybe your writing style is fragments. Now, usually, I remember when I was a kid, Microsoft Word would usually like kind of pin me for, for using fragments as a sentence. It would like point out, hey, this is not a complete sentence. But here's the interesting thing: fragments can actually be used very effectively. There's actually no solid rule when it comes to writing that you need that the sentence needs to be complete. Like there's actually no rule that you can't use fragments to write your book. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that these fragments are used well. You want to make sure that people can still follow along, that the fragment still has an impact somehow. And in my honest opinion, I think fragments can actually do a much better job of conveying certain thoughts or conveying certain points than a complete sentence can. When you're writing a complete sentence, sometimes there's like it's easier to write something that feels bland, maybe a little too professional, maybe a little too technical. When you're writing a work of fiction, it needs to evoke emotions in the readers as they read, and it could be like any emotion, like sadness, joy, maybe even frustration, stress, anxiety, the good kinds, or fear for the characters. It's supposed to provoke these emotions in the readers as they read. And so, in my honest opinion, when it comes to trying to provoke emotions in readers, now obviously you don't want to be manipulative. You don't want to like try to stir up artificial drama just for the sake of, manipulating readers' emotions. But the goal, your job as a writer, as a storyteller, is to thrill people. And in order to thrill people, that's going to take more than just writing complete sentences that would make your English teacher happy. Sometimes that's going to mean taking things in your own unique direction. For me personally, it has been writing fragments. I like writing fragments, and it still conveys a complete thought, but it uses less words in order to do so. So I think I mentioned in my last video that, this book, The Clone Wars, or actually 2 videos ago, but whatever, The Clone Wars Wild Space by Karen Miller. Yes, it is a Star Wars book, and yes, it looks like a children's book on the cover. I promise you that's not what this was. This was actually an adult Star Wars novel. That's a pretty big character study on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Most people probably don't remember this book now, like almost 20 years after it was written, but it was a huge, huge, huge influence on my writing when I was really young, and it continues to be somewhat of an influence to me now. And one of the things that Karen Miller, the author, did was she tended to, convey thoughts or write her sentences in the form of fragments, and sometimes that would feel like part of a thought. So like there's a fragment sentence here that conveys part of a thought, and then the next fragment sentence conveys the other part of the thought. It's almost like two puzzle pieces coming together in a way. So like for example, I'll just give an example of a fragment right now. So you have a sentence that says Bale closed his eyes, and then period, right? And then the next sentence is, and then he didn't die. And what's also interesting is that Karen Miller had like two different sentences, fragment sentences, and they were also their own paragraphs too. Karen didn't tend to use she would use big paragraphs at times, but when she really wanted to get something across, so it would be a single sentence as a paragraph. that's kind of a style that I used when writing The Glass God, my first book. Link in the description below to it on Amazon. I tended to write like a single sentence, and that was its own paragraph. I do that a lot in the book that I'm writing right now, and I would actually argue that I do it even more in the second book. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to like do it too much as to kind of just annoy the reader, because it is possible to annoy the reader. You want to make sure that those single sentence paragraphs really hit, that they make the reader look up and go and just have this moment of realization, and they go, oh, you know. So that is a writing style that I have a lot of fun with. I love a good sentence fragment that hits you. If it does something to me when I read it back to myself, then I love to think that it does something for someone else. But maybe that's not your writing style, or maybe that is, maybe it's something that you've been wanting to get validation on. Maybe you thought, but I like writing fragment sentences, but I don't know if it's really widely accepted. Here's the thing. Technically, you can write whatever you want. Cormac McCarthy, when he wrote The Road, knew this. He could write whatever he wanted. He wrote whatever he wanted. He used broken grammar all the time in that book because he was conveying emotions in a setting that was a post-apocalyptic world where grammar honestly is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And it also is reflective of the kind of broken world that the characters were traveling through. So you can, like write in your own style that diverts from the typical English class, rules. You just have to make sure that when you do it well, and it is something that the readers can accept. Not all readers will accept it. You can't make everyone happy, but you can still make a significant number of people happy. So yeah, that is my TED talk for tonight on writing in fragments. I actually, over time, I'll be sharing some fragment sentences of my own in my book that hopefully doesn't give away major plot points, given that no one's read the book in full yet. But what are some of the writing styles that you enjoy writing? You can share that in the comment section below. Tell me, do you write in fragments? Is there a different style that you go for? I would love to hear it from you. I would love to see you guys helping each other out with your writing, with creating novels. I do not believe that the art of the novel is dead yet. And I think we can create something really special here. So yeah, comment below, subscribe if you're interested and gain more content like this. I shoot a video every single night and then post it the next morning. So you'll be getting consistent content from me. If you hit that notification bell, I promise you, you will not be disappointed in the amount of content that you get. I'm Forrest. I'll see you next time.